So there's a mystery in the zombie storyline that a lot of people don't realize, and the mystery is, what time does the map Moon and Green Run take place? Mainly Green Run is what we're going to be talking about. And at first it might not seem like such a big mystery and you might be thinking you know the answer to it, but it's a little bit more complicated, so stick to the end of the video and you'll know exactly why I'm saying that. Also, near the end of the video, I'm saving the best for last. We're going to be talking about some Nuketown zombie theories and some mysteries that a lot of people don't know. So let's get right into the video. Now this video is going to have to do a lot with time and time travel, so it might get pretty complicated. Now it all starts with Der Riese. Now listen to this radio clip found in Der Riese.
I suggest we find not only a regular supply of 115, but that we also find a larger conduit to channel the energy. Our operatives in America have informed us that the U.S. has a large supply of the element at the Nevada base.
Now notice how he is talking about a Nevada base in the USA. What in zombies do we know what happens in a Nevada base? Of course, Maxis is most likely probably talking about Nuketown zombies in this Der Riese radio clip. Now how can we know for sure that Maxis is talking about Nuketown? Well, let's look carefully at what he says. He says, our operatives in America have informed us that the U.S. has a large supply of the element in the Nevada base. Now he says our operatives. If you look at the definition of the word operatives, operatives means a worker, especially a skilled one in a manufacturing industry. Now we do know that Der Riese is a manufacturing industry for weapons, manufacturing facility, not industry. So if he's saying that they have operatives in America, he's basically saying our workers in a manufacturing industry in America have informed us that the U.S. has a large supply of the element in the Nevada base. So he's basically saying that there is a manufacturing 935 industry in America, USA. He's talking about Nuketown. So this basically confirms that Nuketown is a manufacturing facility for Group 935. Also, another word that Maxis says in the radio, he says, like I said, our operatives in America have informed us that the U.S. has a large supply of the element in the Nevada base. Keyword base. If you look up the definition of base, it says situate as the center of operations. That means that it is like a center of operations, just like Der Riese was. Der Riese is the center of operations for Group 935 in Germany, and Nuketown is the center of operations in America for Group 935. Now, even more proof that Nuketown was a 935 testing facility is that at the end of Nuketown Black Ops 1 multiplayer match, a nuke drops that the scientists were testing out. That's obviously why it's called Nuketown, because it's a research facility where they test out new rockets and new nukes. That's obviously why on Nuketown it has like fake people and like fake mannequins, because obviously they're not going to test out the weaponry and the nukes on on real people. That's why there's like a bunch of like fake people there, because they're trying to test out the weapons, but they're obviously not going to test it out on real people, so they have to test it out on mannequins. Now, as we all know, if you look, you will notice a huge mushroom cloud on Nuketown zombies where a nuke hit. This mushroom cloud is from the nuke dropped at the end of the Black Ops 1 multiplayer. Because if you look closely to the ending of Nuketown Black Ops 1, you'll notice that the rocket hits on the same place where the mushroom cloud is on Nuketown zombies. Also, if you guys notice here, the Nuketown sign has the Group 935 logo on it. So that is further proof that Nuketown zombies is a 935 research facility. Now, I could be wrong because the image is blurry and it could just be a picture of an atom, but still, it looks pretty similar. But it's okay, because just remember that this is just a theory. And more proof that Nuketown Zombies takes place right after the Black Ops 1 match is if you look at the Nuketown Zombies trailer, it starts off with the Black Ops 1 map in the sky, then it zooms in, it zooms into the Nuketown sign, then it pans out and it turns into Nuketown Zombies. You see that? This right here, this is not Nuketown 2025. This is, if you know your Call of Duty, you know that this is Nuketown 1960s. So basically, Nuketown is the American version of Der Riese. Der Riese is the 935 research facility in Germany, and Nuketown is the 935 facility in America, Nevada, USA. Now basically, the theory goes that after the scientists / researchers on Nuketown dropped the nuke, it was so powerful that it ended up killing all of the scientists on the Nuketown facility. Now, since Nuketown is a 935 research facility and deals heavily with element 115, when the researchers died, they were brought back to life as zombies by the element 115, which was heavy in the Nuketown base, like Maxis says.
That the U.S. has a large supply of the element.
That is why all the zombies on Nuketown zombies are wearing Fallout radiation protective uniforms, because they were the researchers testing out those nukes, and obviously, they were wearing the protective nuclear radiation uniforms and stuff like that when they're testing it out, because obviously they don't want to get damaged from their tests themselves, you know what I mean? Now, there was an extremely important member of the research facility that didn't end up dying because he took cover when the nuke dropped in the bomb shelter. Marlton. Marlton was the one researcher at the Nuketown facility and was the only one who survived. This is obviously why when you're playing Nuketown Zombies and you knife the bomb shelter, Marlton starts speaking. Now, there's an extremely strange mystery that a lot of people were talking about a while ago, where when you die in Nuketown and the little cutscene of the nuke coming down plays, you will notice that the bomb shelter where Marlton is actually open. Now, as the nuke gets closer and closer and it is about to hit, you can see that the door shuts closed right before the impact. Now, this is very strange and confused a lot of people why the door was open, because a lot of people have been trying to get it open while playing Nuketown. Nobody's been able to figure out, why is it open. So it really confused people, threw people off when they saw it open at the end of Nuketown. But anyway, so we all know that Nuketown takes place at the same time that Moon happens. So many say that the nuke that drops at the end is one of the 3 rockets from Moon. Now, I also believe that, but the thing is, the way the nuke drops is, it's like it starts off on its side, then it tilts its nose down. You know what I mean? It doesn't go straight down. So it looks like it was being dropped from a helicopter or something like that, and it didn't look like how it looked in the Moon cutscene, where the rockets were just headed straight to the Moon. You know what I mean? So I still believe it's one of the Moon rockets, but I just find that a little bit weird, so it's something to kind of think about. So if Nuketown takes place the same time as Moon, then we can find out what time Nuketown takes place if we find out the time of Moon. Now, right off the top, most of you guys will probably say that Moon takes place in the 1960s, and I think I agree with that, because if you look at all the computers on the map Moon, they actually look like computers from the 1960s. As you guys can see right here, I looked up computers from the 1960s, and yup, these basically look almost exactly like the computers you can find on Moon. Also, further proof that Moon takes place in the 1960s is that we know that the Black Ops 1 campaign takes place in the 1960s in the Cold War. I think it's specifically 1968, right? And obviously the multiplayer is based off of the time period that the campaign takes place, right? So off of that, we could tell that Black Ops 1 Nuketown multiplayer takes place in the 1960s, right? And since we know that Nuketown Zombies takes place right after the nuke hit in Black Ops 1 multiplayer, that also means that Nuketown Zombies takes place in the 1960s. And if Nuketown Zombies takes place in the 1960s, that means that Moon takes place in the 1960s, because Nuketown Zombies and Moon take place at the same time. So yeah, it's crazy how we could find out the time period of a Black Ops 2 Zombies map based off of the Black Ops 1 campaign. It's crazy how everything's connected like that. And we also believe that Green Run takes place in the year 2025, but we also believe that Green Run happens right after the Moon rockets hit on Earth. So if Moon happened in the 1960s and Green Run happened in the year 2025, then how could Green Run take place right after Moon? Because obviously there's that huge time gap between the late 1960s and the year 2025. So it wouldn't make sense for Green Run to happen right after Moon because of that huge time gap. So the question is, does Green Run really take place in the year 2025? And just because Green Run has futuristic weapons doesn't really justify it being a map in the future. Because remember, obviously the weapons that you get from the box, basically, I'm pretty sure everybody knows this, but just in case you didn't know, the box runs off of the element 115, and one of the effects of element 115 is that time displacement. Basically, it grabs weapons from the future and weapons from the past. So guns aren't really a good indication for the time of the map. This also explains why Origins, which happens in World War I 1917, has futuristic weapons. So let's say that Green Run does not take place in the year 2025, because as of now, it doesn't really make sense for Green Run to take place in the year 2025. So let's say that Green Run literally happened right after Moon. So it happened around, let's say, I don't know, 1970, because Moon takes place in the late 1960s. So if Green Run really did take place in the year 1970, it still wouldn't make sense, because if you look at simple clues around the map in Green Run, it wouldn't make sense for the rockets hit and then lava pits to form immediately. It would take years and years for that to happen. So it still doesn't really make sense if Green Run happened right after Moon. So basically, it's implying that Green Run had to take place later on after Moon, a little bit further down the line. But then again, that still doesn't make sense again, because if you go into the Pack-a-Punch room on Green Run, you will notice some crates that have the USSR state quality mark on it. Now, here's a picture of the in-game picture of it, and here is a picture of the real-life USSR state quality mark. Now, what's interesting about this is that the USSR state quality mark was established in 1967, the same year that Moon takes place, and it was discontinued in the year 1991. So does Green Run take place in 1967 because the crates in the Pack-a-Punch room have the USSR mark from 1967? Well, it seems like it, and you're probably convinced that, yeah, probably Green Run actually does take place in 1967. Now, again, this is actually wrong. I need you guys to listen to this radio right here by Dr. Maxis.
You are not one of those foul creatures. Excellent. I have been searching for decades. Listen now. What I have to say is of the utmost importance to mankind. If you would see this planet freed from the curse of these wretched undead creatures and the monstrous evil which controls them, then you must obey my every command. I cannot effect physical change, yet. You must be my hands. Only you can stop that awful worm, Richtofen.
Now, he says that he's been looking for decades for survivors to help him get back at Dr. Maxis, obviously by doing the Easter eggs, which would be, putting him in power. Now, he says he's been looking for decades. So if Green Run takes place in the year 2025, that would be decades after Moon, which takes place in 1967. So that would actually make sense. And like Dr. Maxis says that he's been looking for decades after, so the decades would give Green Run enough time to be able to form all those lava pits from the rockets. So that would, explain why there's lava pits. But wait, what about the crates in the Pack-a-Punch room that have the USSR label on them? How do I explain that? Here is my theory. After the moon rockets hit Earth in 1967, it wiped out the whole population on Earth. So the crates from 1967 was the last shipment that the bank got because everybody was dead, so nobody could make the new shipments of the new boxes after 1967 all the way to 2025. Now, there is actually more proof that Green Run cannot have taken place in the year 1960, and it is because of this. Listen to this quote right here.
Welcome aboard. Please secure all personal belongings and take your seat. Now departing for the HARP Research Station.
Now he says, now departing for the HARP Research Station. The Avogadro, he is theorized to be created by the United States HARP Research Facility, with the HARP Research Facility actually being a short distance away from the power station, according to what we know about, the location of transit and stuff like that. This is a very possible theory. Now, remember when I talked about the HARP Research Station in 5 Things number 5, and yeah, basically that quote right there that the bus driver says is more proof that transit is right next to the government's HARP Research Station where, they're doing all those secret government plans and stuff like that. But anyway, for this video, what's important is the HARP Research Station didn't open until 1993 and after. So if the bus driver is taking you, or is supposed to take you, to the HARP Research Station, and if Green Run takes place in the 1960s, then how can the bus driver on Green Run take you to somewhere that's in 1993? It obviously doesn't make sense. He can't take you to somewhere that doesn't exist yet because the HARP Research Station opened in 1993, like I said. So it doesn't make sense. So that is implying that Green Run has to take place in the year 2025, or at least past the year 1993. So that means it cannot take place in the year it can't take place in the 1960s is what I'm saying. And also further proof that Green Run cannot take place in the 1960s is because all 3 maps, Die Rise, Buried, and Transit, take place in the same year. And Die Rise, if you look at Die Rise, you can see a bunch of posters, and on the posters are making references to the year 1996. So if we know that Die Rise takes place at least by the year 1996, or at least past that, we know that obviously it's not taking place in the 1960s. And if Die Rise is not taking place in the 1960s, then that means Transit is not taking place in the 1960s, because they take place at the same time, along with Buried. And how we know that all 3 maps take place is because, according to Richtofen's grand scheme, all of the 3 towers have to be powered up at the same time in order for him to get all the power at once. So in the cutscene, whenever Richtofen is teleporting them to the next location, they're not time traveling. He's just moving them to the next location because they need to do it quickly in order for all the power to come to him. So Moon takes place in the 1960s, and Green Run has to take place in the year 2025. So it seems that everything makes sense now, but there is one problem. If Nuketown takes place in 1967 because Moon, then how did Marlton stay in the bunker from 1967 all the way to Green Run 2025 without aging? This is a 58-year gap in time. So how did Marlton's voice not change, and how did he not age at all? Well, there is a theory that Marlton time traveled from between Nuketown and Green Run. Now, if you guys remember a long time ago about that theory, how Marlton had that watch and he used that watch to time travel, and the reason people said this was obviously because his watch looks really weird and has all these weird digits on it and stuff like that. So the theory was that he used that watch. It was basically like a mini time traveling machine, and that's how he time traveled from between Moon 1960s to Green Run 2025. Now this would actually make sense because technically, if you think about it, Marlton was a 935 USA worker, so he would be experienced with time travel and stuff like that because that was kind of the whole goal of Group 935, to achieve time travel. So they could go back in time and win World War I with the giant that they were building at Derice. Now to support Marlton's time traveling machine theory, listen to these quotes from the bunker, or from the bomb shelter.
No! My electronics! Ruined! This device will prove my mental superiority once and for all. Just because one is different is not a valid excuse to simply banish him. They asked me to leave? I was the one reporting the disgusting behavior. Makes no sense.
Now my theory is while the scientists were testing at Nuketown, basically they banished and got rid of Marlton because they thought that his time traveling ideas were weird or something like that. So they banished him. That's why when I showed you guys the quotes, he kept talking about you know, how he was banished or whatever. And probably the reason why the other scientists thought that Marlton's time traveling idea was weird and they banished him was because in the USA they were not trying to achieve time travel. That was actually a Nazi Germany plan. In the real life Derice, they were basically trying to achieve time travel / teleportation. So it wasn't something that was being done in the USA. So the other scientists thought Marlton was weird for trying to do that. So basically they kicked him out, and while he was leaving, he noticed that there was a nuke in the air. So he quickly ran into the bomb shelter. That would explain at the cutscene at the end, that would explain why the bomb shelter's door was open, because he quickly ran in, then he shut it before the nuke hit. And the reason I said that they probably thought his time traveling ideas were weird and that's why they banished him was because of this quote right here.
Just because one is different is not a valid excuse to simply banish him.
So, you know, him trying to achieve time travel with his machine, they probably thought that he was crazy or something like that, so they told him to just get out of the office, basically. And that's why he wanted to create the time traveling machine to prove something to them. That's why he says,
"This device will prove my mental superiority once and for all."
And also this quote right here is very interesting. He says,
"They asked me to leave? I was the one reporting the disgusting behavior. Makes no sense."
This basically once again proves that Nuketown was a zombie 935 testing facility, because he says that they told him to leave, but he was the one who was reporting on the disgusting behavior. He's obviously talking about the behavior of the zombies. As we know, just like in Derice, they test out the behavior of zombies. Just like in Derice, if you listen to this radio right here.
Stand up. Stand up! Good. Look at me. Over here. Good. Now walk forward. Excellent. Further. Keep coming. It's all right. Stay there. Calm down. I order you. Kill it. Bring me another.
And that radio right there, Maxis is testing out a zombie and stuff like that, and they're like taking notes on the zombie's behavior. So that's why Marlton says they told me to leave when I was the one doing all the reports on the zombies. Now, a fun way to end off this video is the inspiration for Nuketown actually came from an Indiana Jones movie called The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Now, in this movie, there's a scene called Nuketown, and basically what happens in the scene is Indiana Jones is on the testing nuclear facility in the middle of the desert, just like Nuketown Black Ops is, and they're about to drop the nuke. Now, what's crazy about this is the nuke is actually dropped from the same tower like it is in Black Ops 1 multiplayer. So it is very similar. And the story goes in the scene that Indiana Jones notices that they're about to drop the nuke, so he quickly runs into one of the houses and jumps in a fridge last second to save his life right before the nuke hits. So when Treyarch made the story of Marlton running into the bunker last second to save his life before the nuke hits, that's making a reference to the Indiana Jones movie. Also notice all the mannequins and stuff like that, so they really made Nuketown very like close to how the movie scene was. Also, after the nuke goes off, there's a huge mushroom cloud in the air, and that's exactly how Treyarch made it on Nuketown Zombies. But wait. Okay, I got one last thing to say. So if Green Run takes place after Moon by years and years and years, and Richtofen has been in the Aether, aka in control of the zombies this whole time through that time gap between the two maps, then how come Richtofen on Green Run says,
"Excuse me, Just getting used to the ether.
Just getting used to the Aether, as if he just got in it. But he should have been in it the whole time in between Moon and Green Run. So if he just got in it, does Green Run really take place after Moon in the 1960s?